Happy Monday. This is Frank. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel, where we talk a little bit of everything Tennessee Vols athletics. And we'll talk some baseball. Of course, the 2025 season did come to a close yesterday, but a lot of different emotions on that. But I think we can still look back on this team won 46 games this year. It was a good season. Were there some frustrating moments? Yes, but still, they are the first national champion in 6 years to make it this far. So still an overall good year, and that tells you how high the bar is here as well that's been set for Tennessee baseball right now. But make sure you hit the like. If you know anybody that's not found the channel, sharing that out greatly help. If you're a returning listener or first time you like the content, hit that subscribe button for notifications as well. So I'm going to try to I talked it yesterday, and I'll link it at the end on the post game. I really tried to break down the roster, what we got coming back, what we're looking at on it. One of the quotes they asked Tennessee, or asked Vitello yesterday in the post game said, "What's the things the program can work on in the off season?" He said, "We got to go get guys," and he's right on this. He said last summer was tough on it because you're winning a national championship in Omaha. The transfer portal is open for the month of June. Well, they were not on campus for most of June. And, again, I don't understand why that's the case. It's like your teams that are trying to win championships get penalized in terms of building a roster for next year because you can't host. And they lost out on some guys more than likely by that happened. They were still fortunate to get Keelan, Fisher, Doyle, and Tanner Franklin. They had Radachak coming in too. He got drafted, which we knew he was a draft risk. Also, could have been a guy who could have been a big stick for that lineup as well. He looked almost close to what Fisher. I don't know if he would have done what Fisher would have done, but that's something that I think a lot of people forget. That was a hitter coming in we could have used for sure. Guy could have played first or the outfield. But anyhow, here's something I would look out for. The Tennessee, of course, they're done for the season. They're not in Omaha. They can start hosting away right now. I look for this team to be aggressive and going out and getting what they need now. So let's look at who's leaving, who's going, and some questions that are out there too. First of all, who's leaving? Well, let's look at the pitchers first. Doyle, Phillips, they'll be gone. Doyle's probably going to be a top 10 pick. Phillips, I would say somewhere in the first, I'll say 5 rounds, and that he could go earlier than the 5th round. I think he goes somewhere in there with it. Those two will be gone. A.J. Russell, same thing. He'll go somewhere probably in the first few rounds. Tanner Franklin will be gone. Snead will be gone. I think Brandon Arvidsson, I know some people have said, well, it'll depend on, I think Brandon Arvidsson is probably easily drafted somewhere in the top 10 rounds on it. I look back at last year, the amount of guys we had drafted and where they were. I feel confident saying Arvidsson, probably the last we've seen of him. I think he really improved his stock. Now, yesterday, of course, he had the 2 walks, but prior to that, he'd been really good this offseason. So, they see that potential that's there. So you lose those guys. You're looking at Lloyd, of course, will be back. And then you got to look at the freshmen too on it. And, there's the rumors out there where Coons hit the portal. I don't think he will. I really don't think that he will. But I can't sit here and tell you for sure that he won't either. One thing that's going to come up on it is when these guys come back this week, they'll have those exit interviews, those exit meetings with the coaching staff. The plan with Coons all along is 2 years in coming here. I think this was pretty well known with it. He's a 2-year guy. He turned down pretty good money to come to Tennessee. He's going to want to pitch next year. He's going to want to pitch. And he's going to want to be a big part of that rotation. I don't expect the staff just going to give it to him. And I don't think that they expect that either, that he expects it. But, a good off season, he'll go play in the Cod League, Cape Cod League, good off season, and he'll be ready to go. It's going to be up to him, though, whether he wants to stay, because any competitor that wants to play. And Tony Vitello mentions this, guys in his ear wanting to pitch all the time. So he hears it a lot. It's something they probably hear every off season, guys who want to pitch. But I feel confident saying Coons will be back and he'll be a big part of the rotation next year. I'm not guaranteeing it, but that's where I think things are at. You got Krenzel, who'll be back. I'll be curious to see how he develops this off season. I'm thinking he's a 3-year guy, actually, but I'd have to go back and check on that one with it. I mean, you got to look at these JUCO guys. Could some of those guys possibly get drafted? You never know late, and if they get enough of a bonus, could they go? But there'll be, out of these pitchers, a lot of people are high on Seibert, who come in. He was the top prospect last year that made it to campus. I think he was out with arm surgery, so he'll be back next year. Be curious to see what he adds. He's a big dude as well, 6'8", 235 is what he's listed on here. And then you got other guys. There will be departures, though. Make no mistake about it. There will be departures. There's a lot of pitchers listed on here. A lot of guys who got to the point they didn't throw much. You got to think there'll probably be some guys told to go look for opportunities, I would imagine. I'm not speculating as to who, because I don't know. There'll be some that can come back and probably take that next step. There'll be others that probably the pasture is greener elsewhere on it. So you've got, the guys they've got committed right now, Cruz Schoolcraft is not going to make it campus. He's the top pitching prospect in the recruiting class. But then you got to look for the guys, your transfer dudes. Edmondson from UNC Asheville, he's a draft risk. He was Big South pitcher of the year this year. Estrada from MIT is possibly a draft risk with his stuff. Barr coming from JUCO, the top JUCO player and pitcher, he's a draft risk. Last I saw, he's in the top 150 rated. You hope those guys make it to campus, but at the same time, though, if these guys get that good bonus and stuff, you can't blame them for going. I can't blame them one bit on that, because you turn down guaranteed money now. Who knows what happens later on? So basically all your transfer guys, now you've got Rudy coming from Kennesaw State. To my knowledge, he's not a draft risk, and he'll be a guy coming in that he adds. But they're going to need more. I've seen it listed that they're looking for a left-handed starter. How many starters are they looking for? How many guys on the current staff? Coons definitely can start. I'm looking for him to take a big step and be a vital part of the rotation next year. If he sticks around, which, again, I think he will. But, again, there's going to be exit interviews. I'm sure there's going to be lots of questions there as well. Like I said, it is his draft year. He's going to want to pitch. So we'll keep an eye on that one, but I still feel pretty good about that. Could Krenzel possibly start, or is he kind of that middle relief type guy? Based on what I've heard on Seibert, he's more of a relief guy. Could be wrong on that, but based on people I know pretty well that know of him, he's more of a relief guy. Could some of these other freshmen possibly come in with it as well? And then, so it'll be curious to see how many guys they add through the portal. Could there be a guy come out of nowhere like Marcus Phillips? I mean, who would have thought Marcus Phillips would go from what he did last year to being a vital part of the rotation the entire year on it? So I wouldn't rule that out either. Somebody that's maybe flying under the radar that all of a sudden here they take that step and put it all together. Could a Dylan Lloyd get a look in the rotation? Be interesting to see with him as well. Lots of questions there. I mean, I think there's lots of questions and not a lot of answers right now as to where they go with it, with the pitching, but they will be on the lookout for more. And, a lot of it, if these guys they have committed, these transfers get in, that'll help solve some of the issues. But I don't know that it'll depend on, I would say if any of them, Estrada, of course, like I said, I think Rudy, I don't think he's draft eligible based on what I've seen. So he'll be here. I think he was more of a relief guy this year based on what I'd seen, though. But things could always change. They could stretch him out and try and as well. From what I've seen, the staff really liked him and wanted him a lot. So there's kind of where we're at pitching. A lot of unknowns now. A lot of young guys, we need to take that step next year. But they'll be active in the portal. And the good thing, too, is, well, it's kind of a bittersweet thing. You're not going to Omaha, which stinks, but you're also able to focus on rebuilding that roster or reloading that roster with it. Now, if we look at the offense, you're looking at, to me, out of your 9 guys who are regulars in the lineup at the end, Manny Marin, Levi Clark's going to be the only 2 back. Peebles, switch hitting catcher, he's still got eligibility. He'll get drafted. He'll still have leverage on his bonus. Fisher will be a high-round pick. Curley will go in the first 2 to 3 rounds. Keelan will go probably first or second round with it. Let's see, Marin was 3rd. Marin, it'd be interesting to see if he's 3rd or short next year. I think that'll depend on what happens with Antigua. Because Antigua is getting to that point where he's going to want to be a regular on it. Is it going to be here or will it be somewhere else? I hope he stays and takes that step. Love to watch him play. But at the same time, man, if there's better opportunities for him somewhere else, I can't blame him for taking them either. You look at the outfield, Bargo, Inslee, Chapman. Of course, Inslee's out of eligibility. I feel confident saying Bargo and Chapman get drafted and they're gone. I know they're both streaky guys. Let's make no mistake about it. I've seen them get trashed a lot. Yeah, I would like to see more consistency. They had decent years for Tennessee. They did good things. Bargo did really good in SEC play. He didn't have the finish that he wanted. Chapman, too. Both guys were pretty streaky guys during their time here. But if you look at their overall numbers for the year, they were pretty good. They were pretty good numbers overall. I feel confident in saying both those guys will get drafted and that they'll be gone as well. So that leaves them, again, Marin, Levi Clark. Marin, if I'm not mistaken, is a 2-year guy potentially as well. I think it'd be big for him to get in the weight room this offseason, put on more weight. Vitello mentioned that about the weight he put on already helped him hit that 3-run homer against Wake Forest. That extra weight and strength was probably the difference he mentioned on that. Clark, where can he fit in? He can play first. He can play the outfield. He's listed as a catcher. I don't see it. I could be wrong on that one. Speaking of catcher, you got Stone Wallace coming in. The key for me is going to be, I want to see Brooks Wright, too. He was a freshman. There was a lot of talk about him in those intra-squad scrimmages. Guy who has a lot of pop in his bat. He's playing in the Appalachian League this summer. He's a guy I'm keeping an eye on to see what progress he makes. And I've seen some people saying catcher is the number 1 need. I'm not ruling out that Lawless can't take a big step, too. I'll be curious to see where he plays this summer. And Trent Grinlinger, freshman out of California. From what I've seen, it says he wants to come to campus. But I've seen that stuff before, and all of a sudden a number gets met and you're gone. I mean, going back years ago, Mookie Betts wanted to come to campus when he was signed with Tennessee. At the last minute, Boston come in with an offer he couldn't refuse. And that was under Dave Serrano when it happened. So, that's something to keep in mind. I think until some of these high-ranked dudes are actually through the draft, you can't really feel comfortable. It's going to be the same signing class. You've got like 8 guys in the top 100. And, we even saw it last year. There were 2 guys ranked lower according to Perfect Game. Lucas Ramirez was one. I have to look the other guy went to Houston. I'd have to look back at that one. So, it's going to depend on where some of these guys are on draft boards. But, yesterday, too, something positive you did see at the end. Chris Newstrom comes off the bench, hadn't hit in weeks in a live game, turns on a 99-mile-per-hour fastball and hits a seed to left center. And then Jay Abernathy hits a 430-foot bomb a couple batters later. I think you got to be encouraged by that. And I would like to, hopefully both of those guys, and I say this with all of them, hopefully they stick around with it because as competitors, there has to be frustration when you come in, you're not playing on it. Hopefully they stick around. We see that improvement, that development from them. And then from there, you're going to have to add some bats. I've heard good things about Henry Ford coming in, possibly, but at the same time, he's a draft risk. So that would be huge if Henry Ford makes it in. So he was in for a visit. I'll link that one at the end as well. But you need power. You need some power right now, because I'm curious to see the step Levi Clark takes with power. As far as Newstrom, I think he's a guy who can get you double digits, around 10 to 15 maybe. Manny Marin, hopefully he takes a step, gets up closer to 10. Abernathy, his game's more of speed and hit, but as we saw, he's got some pop in his bat. You know, the big thing too is some guys I'm keeping an eye on is, like I said, Brooks Wright is one at catcher. Jackson Walker's a guy who was top 100, a red shirt. He's playing for the State Liners in Bristol this summer. I'd like to see him come in, do his thing as well, and become a part of that lineup. He is an outfielder out of Loudon. And, you know, who's some other guys here? Hunter High is a dude. Blake Grimmer is a guy. Can those guys put a footprint? We've seen these dudes take those big steps in years 2 and 3 before. There's no reason we couldn't see this again this offseason. It's a big offseason for a lot of guys, though. And, again, we'll see who stays, who goes. There will be portal entries, and there may be quite a few of them. And again, there may be some we don't want to see go. I'm not saying we want to see any of them go by any means, but there may be guys that we're looking at counting on next year as well. And I just say that based on you never know in this day and age. But it's a big off season for it. But Tony Vitello and staff, they'll be hard at it. I have no doubt about that. And you know, we'll see. Again, I say this roster will reload next year, and they'll be right back where they've been for the last 2 years. Make sure you hit the like, the share. If you have not already, subscribe. Check out the links in the description, channel memberships, channel Patreon, bottom right-hand corner, super thanks. Those are appreciated as well. Probably going on a live show hiatus for a good while. I don't know when or if I'll do any more live as well. We'll see on that. I'm debating the future of the live shows on here, but it'll probably be, you know, one of those things I go all or nothing with it moving forward. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the support. This is Frank. This is the House of Orange. Have a great day, and I'll see you when I see you.